Welcome to the Woolly World of Westknits, episode 10. I can't believe we've already made it to 10 episodes, so we're going to do a little roundup of some new designs. I'm going to give you a little sneak peek of some works in progress and a fun sock design that's coming. So a little behind the scenes sneak peek for you. And we'll also take a look at some other new designs, maybe some gift knit ideas, and just see what's going on in the woolly world of Westknits. So welcome, we've got Stitch, and Brioche has abandoned us. He's on the camera crew today. So I want to start off by showing some of the new knits. There's been a lot that's been coming out since I did episode 9. So let's dive into it, Stitch. Should we see what's new? I think she's waiting for her new sweaters. I've got them finally decked out in their hand knit sweaters. She's wearing the Marled Pup Sweater, but you're waiting for new holiday knits, aren't you? Yeah, I gotta do a new pet knits collection for the next year. But it's finally getting chillier here in Amsterdam, so I've been definitely digging out all my sweaters and shawls and lots of hats and rotating a hat a day and going through all my knits. So I'm real excited that it's finally that dark, cozy, gray. Oftentimes when all the summer folks are starting to complain about all the dark, chilly, rainy, miserable days, that's my yes, it's finally here moment. This is like my favorite, besides that first fall time with all the crisp leaves, this like super gray, miserable, dark, well, for me it's not miserable, but it's like full sweater weather. So I'm like really enjoying accessorizing with all my knits and rocking all my new stuff, and also digging out some oldies that I haven't worn in a couple seasons or a few months, like this Fantastitch sweater. This was a few years ago, but I've been wearing this one a lot. And yeah, it's interesting. I knit a lot of sweaters, I knit a lot of shawls, but it's always interesting to see which ones you use the most, and sometimes they're not the ones I expected. Like sometimes the ones that I love knitting the most aren't the ones I wear as much, and then some of the projects where I'm not thinking as much about the colors and just it seems to just fly off the needles, sometimes those are the comfy, cozy ones that I wear the most. So I've been wearing the Fantastitch a lot lately, and I think the reason why I wear some of my knits the most are when I'm making it, and in the process of making it, I'm not so precious about the colors or the process. So when I'm making these scrappy, stripy, stash busty kind of sweaters, I don't feel so precious when I wear them. So that means I don't feel if it gets snagged or if it gets worn or a little pilly in places. It's just more, it feels more casual. So that's how I feel about the Fantastitch. It uses like all these different types of yarns, from hand dyed to more woolly yarns. So it's one of those just like grab and go. And it's got so many colors in it that it goes with everything. So I could wear it with gray jeans or wear it with black. It has warm colors in it too. I mean, I'd wear it with any color. Even some green pants or something would be really cool. So yeah, I just love the feeling of this. And that's what I've been wearing the most. And Stitchy, you've been wearing your Marled Pup Sweater. So these, I knit both of these for Brioche and Stitch. This is a really good stash buster sweater. And if you're looking for like a gift knit or something quick for an in-between project, or if you have a friend that has a dog that won't stop talking about their dog or showing you photos of their dog like I do to all my friends, then the Marled Pup Sweater is a good gift knit for them. You can make this with just your leftovers. So there's little shawl yarns. You're being such a good model. There's shawl yarn leftovers, there's sock yarns, and you need really small amounts. So you could also use like mini skeins, or if you collect those advent calendar hand-dyed packages, you could use those minis from the Advents for this. You just need tiny amounts, and they're so fun. Yeah, you just get to wear all my leftovers. So that's what we've been wearing, and then a lot of new stuff has come out. So let's dive into some of the latest designs, and I'll show off some of my favorites. There's a new cardigan too that just came out. So let's start with that. This new cardigan, the Fragmentation Cardigan. This was a sweater. Well, first it was a shawl, This is how my mind works. I start with one thing, I get addicted to it, and imagine, oh, what if that shawl was on my body as a sweater? And what if that sweater was transformed into a cardigan? So I transformed that Fragmentation sweater, which is a pullover style, and it's all knit flat with some buttons, with a button band. And I designed this pattern especially for those of you that don't like to purl, because almost the entire sweater is knitted, except for the ribbing. You have some knit to, purl to ribbing, but the yoke is garter stitch, knit flat, and the rest of the body is knit flat as well. The fronts and the backs are knit separately in garter stitch, so you're knitting back and forth, and you do a little more ribbing at the bottom, and then when you knit the sleeves, those are knit in the round, so that's with stockinette stitch. A couple of my favorite features of the Fragmentation cardigan are pockets. I put afterthought pockets. So in the Fragmentation cardigan, I put a video link. So if you've never done an afterthought pocket before, you could do this to any sweater or any cardigan that you have. You have to cut the fabric, okay? It's all right, I show you exactly how to do it. So with that afterthought pocket tutorial, you just snip one stitch, and then you carefully unravel and rescue the neighboring stitches, and then you pick up to knit. You just knit a square, a little pocket lining, and then I did a little I-cord bind off for the pocket opening. So this was really fun. It was one of the first times I've done this. I did it years and years and years ago, but yeah, it was really fun to cut your knitting and make something really special. So I want to do that more to some other sweaters and cardigans. That's on the front with 2 pockets. And another fun feature about the cardigan that's different from the pullover are these garter stitch striped rectangles. This little striped gusset under the arm. I just love that feature with all the colors. And you could use like a different color for every single stripe, maybe like a rainbow stripe under the arm at the side of the body. I think I used 8 total colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's all DK weight. So I used 8 total colors because I did 8 stripes in the yoke of my cardigan, but the smaller sizes of the cardigan have a shallower yoke depth. So like sizes 1 and 2 only have 6 stripes in the yoke. So if you're doing a smaller size, then you don't need to have 8 colors. You could just have 5 or 6 colors. And my main color was one of those 8 colors. So what you're looking at in my sample was the chestnut warm brown was my main color, and then 7 additional contrast color pops for 8 total colors. But I love this warm terracotta neutral tone. It uses a lot of our new Westwool colors, and I just love how the peaches and corals bounce off of the new warm browns. So that's the Fragmentation cardigan, and both the sweater and the cardigan come with this optional hood. So this is a little bonus hood pattern. So when you get the Fragmentation cardigan, you can get this hood PDF, and you could have a matching little hood. I wear this mostly just down as like a hoodie when I'm wearing my sweater or cardigan. So I had lots of leftover yarns, so you'll have plenty of leftovers, and you could make this fun little Fragmentation hood. So really fun, great for bicycling, and you can have a nice little matchy-matchy set. So that's the Fragmentation cardigan, and we're also on the tail end of the mystery shawl. So if you haven't finished your mystery shawl, don't worry. You're in good company. It's not a race. There's still a lot of people working on their mystery shawls and on the borders. And what I've really loved most about this year's mystery shawl, more than any other year, were all the modifications and just getting inspired by everybody's adaptations and customizations to your colors, adding more colors and mohair pops. And then some people's border variations are completely different, doing chevrons or other stitch patterns. And I was just, so inspired by that freedom that you all took with the mystery knit along of making it your own and adapting it to suit your style and the techniques you're into. So this is my mystery in the yellows. These are 4 shades of Westwool Bicycle. It's a very like fresh kind of 70s vintage vibe, and it reminds me of like a kind of stripy pineapple color story. So these use 4 of our yellow colors, and this was my first time really fully embracing crochet in a full knitted crocheted garment. So I did that granny square in the center of my Geogradient. And I love it. I need to do more crochet. But this was a really fun little learning opportunity for me. And there's definitely going to be some more crochet and knit combinations, I think, in my projects coming ahead. If you finish the Geogradient and you embrace that dip stitch border instruction, you see that little dip stitch? You may have definitely seen some more of that stitch pattern. I put a lot of that technique into my Hiberknitting collection, so that was a whole new little winter collection that just came out. And I'll put a link down below. I made a whole separate video where you can see all my new winter designs. So if you loved that dip stitch border, I called a new series of patterns the Treasure Trove series. So this is all in my Hiberknitting collection, and we use that beautiful dip stitch for a cowl and mittens and a new hat and a sweater. So this was the first thing I made after my Geogradient. I just loved that dip stitch, so I dove into my leftover yarn baskets using DK weight yarn. I even held a strand of mohair, that lime green mohair. I found a neon mohair that I held together, and it has a beautiful halo. So this was the first dip stitch project I dove into after the Geogradient, and I think there's definitely going to be a little more dip stitches and playful variations of that technique in some patterns for next year. So I've been wearing this one a lot too, with that neon tennis ball pom-pom on top. So if you haven't done the dip stitch, I would start with the Treasure Trove Hat. It's really quick. DK and worsted weight yarns all work really well for this hat, and it's a quick knit. So you can try out that technique and watch the video to learn how to do that dip stitch. But once you practice it, it's really easy. And what I love about the texture of it is it makes basically a double thick fabric in most of the sections of the stitches, because you're adding new yarn to get those fun dips. So you're getting this double layered effect with the dip stitch pattern, and it's extra warm and really squishy. That means it does eat up more yarn, but that's good. I love eating up all my leftovers so that I can clear out my leftover yarn buckets and get a couple new skeins. So that's the Treasure Trove. If you want to see all those other dip stitch patterns, I'll link to that Hiberknitting 4 video down below so you can get a little pattern tour of that whole collection. So the last new project I want to share is I want to dive a little into the sock world. Those of you that have been doing the Westknits Year of Socks, it was the first time I've done this sock a month type of series, and December is the last month. So we're gonna have our final sock next month. So the one that you just got for November were the Prowl socks, and they're really, really easy, and they're also really quick to knit because it's with DK weight yarn. So this is just with one skein of DK weight. You could knit both socks, and it's a little knit purl diagonal rib. So this was the penultimate sock design, the November sock. The December sock is ahead. Do you want to see a sneak preview? This one's coming out really, really soon. So the final December sock is taking my Pierre shawl design, and you can have some coordinating socks to match your shawl or your Pierre pullover. So we're ending with a beautiful textured design. There's little triangles and stripes and seed stitch and ribbing, and you can do these with a solid color, just a one color to show off the textures, or you could do what I did and go light to dark with a fade of 3 colors. So these are coming really soon. If you got that Westknits Year of Socks 2023 ebook, then this will be your December sock, a little sneak preview, and that's gonna wrap it up. That's all 13 socks. There was a bonus sock as well. So 12 months plus a little bonus sock for the Year of Socks, and we're ending it with a beautiful textured finish for the Pierre socks. Coming very soon. Just gotta wait a couple more days if it's not out yet. So I really love this Year of Socks. So if you're sad that the Year of Socks is over, so am I. but don't worry because I've already designed like half of the collection for next year. So yes, we are going to do it again, and I'll announce kind of in mid-December, I think. So keep a lookout on my Westknits newsletter for the 2024 year of socks, and they're going to be all different designs. So lots of different textures, some new stitch patterns, and a lot of other socks similar to this year where a lot of the socks are going to coordinate with your favorite Westknits patterns. So if you have some favorite stitches or designs from my sweaters and shawls, you are going to see a lot of matching and coordinating textures. So you can have a whole theme from head to toe, like a Pierre pullover, a Pierre shawl, Pierre socks. There's going to be a little bit of that flavor, but with new designs for the 2024 socks. And I'll give you a little sneak preview. This one, I haven't done this cable, I don't think, before, but it kind of is similar to my antler sleeve sweater with that big chunky cable on the sleeve. This has a braided cable. So this is a little sneak preview of the bonus pair of socks that we're gonna start 2024 with. So keep a lookout on my newsletter for all of those announcements, but this is a really quick gift knit or a weekend project. You could make one of the socks in a weekend. It's really quick with DK weight and has a beautiful cabled texture. They're kind of like slipper socks. So I wanted to start the bonus sock for 2024 with a really quick knit that's good for winter hiberknitting season. So look out for that. It's coming soon. In December, we'll release the new ebook, but something to get excited about as we reach the tail end of the 2023 sock year. Let's dive into a work in progress. As you all know, I'm always working on lots of projects at the same time, and when one thing is coming to a close, like the year, and the hiberknitting just came out, and the year of socks is winding down, I have been ferociously swatching and playing with some new designs, so I wanted to give you a sneak peek at, I think, what might be my favorite sweater next year, unless I go crazy and knit some other epic new sweater, but I don't know. I've designed a few sweaters already that are coming out next year, and this is my latest one I've started, and this is my favorite of all of them. So this will be pretty early in next year, maybe around February or March, but look at this texture. Ever since we designed this unicorn colorway for Westwool, I could see it in my future. I need a lavender sweater. It has to be a really epic textured pattern. I didn't want just a purple stockinette sweater. So I think this is one of those perfect combinations where color and texture and shape all form to make one of my favorite knits. So I haven't tried it on yet, so I love it, but I hope it fits. Usually I'll put it on an extra needle or some waste yarn and try it on, but it's one of those projects that I've just been nonstop knitting on the last week, and yeah, I haven't had time to put it on a needle to try it on. But I've knit a few sweaters, so I'm pretty good at eyeballing it and thinking that it'll fit. It looks like my other sweaters. Yeah, so I think it'll fit. If not, I'll just get to knit it again. But yeah, this is the lavender colorway, the unicorn color, and I think I'm gonna knit it like a normal length, but I think this would be really cute as a little crop sweater as well. So once I get this knitted, we'll get it into test knitting so that we can roll it out for you in time for winter sweater knitting. So something to look forward to next year. And yes, there are some dip stitches in it, and I mixed some dip stitch with the brioche. So it has this really squishy, plump, plush factor to it. And there's a different variation of the dip stitch. So there's two types of dip stitches where you're dipping down, adding new yarn, and I alternated with some garter stitch and then brioche sections. So really squishy, and don't worry, if you don't want to do the brioche, you could just do more garter stitch, or like a broken rib would be really beautiful in those column sections. So that's what I'm working on, and as soon as I finish the body, I'm gonna start the sleeve right away. It's my same trick mentally that I use for socks, because whenever you reach the end of a section, if you just stop that section and then go do something else or cast something else on, sometimes you never get to the second sock, or you never get to the sleeve or second sleeve. So my psychology trick is as soon as I finish one section, like when I bind off that body, I'm gonna take my needle, put my sleeve stitches on the needle, and at least knit one round so that it's mentally in progress and going and not halted. I've gotten so many times in projects where I just stop and don't start the next section, and then it goes off into that abandoned work in progress mountain or closet that you forget about. So I'm not gonna do that. This color is too good to forget about, so I'm gonna commit and finish this sweater. So that's what I'm working on, and I'm also thinking about some other new sock designs and dog sweater designs. So if you've seen some of the socks I've been doing this year. We did that dog sweater collection. I wanna challenge myself with some new textures to do for the pet knits and the socks, but I also still wanna recycle some shawl and sweater ideas and make them into socks and dog sweaters. So if there are any favorite Westknits designs that you haven't seen sockified or puppified, let me know in the comment down below which type of texture or which type of design of mine from the past that you'd like to see revamped into a sock or a dog sweater. That's where I'm thinking about now, design-wise, for next year. I want to do another pet knits collection, more socks, but yeah, what should I do? Should I do like some more of my painting patterns, like a painting honeycombs dog sweater? I've got painting honeycomb socks. But yeah, let me know, give me some input. I need some inspiration and ideas, and then I'll make it happen for you all. As we're reaching the end of the year, it's often times where a lot of you knit gifts for other people. I personally don't do a lot of gift knitting because in the past that deadline has been really stressful. So my strategy when I give knits as gifts is I often give things that I've already knitted. So I rarely will make something with the deadline, but I have like a basket or a pile of hats or socks or scarves of things that I've already made. So when it does come time for a holiday gift season or for somebody's birthday, I have some options that are ready to go without the stress of knitting things under pressure. So I'll show some little gift ideas, and one of my favorite little styles to do gift knits is to do marled projects, because I believe that anything you give as a gift should be just as fun to knit, and it should be also just as much about the process for you as a knitter as it is the joy of someone receiving that gift knit. So I think this Marled Pup Sweater would make a really good gift knit. Because it's really fun to mix your colors together. You can go really wild with just color pops scattered throughout the sweater. So it can be fun for you to knit and motivating as well, for you to knit this small Marled Pup Sweater. And then the person getting it has a sweater for their dog. And people love their dogs, and they'll love anything that you give that is for their dog, okay? Even if you just like knit a little dog toy or crochet a little dog toy, yeah, something quick, they're gonna love it. So the Marled Pup Sweater is really good for leftovers. You don't have to plan really how much yarn you need. Just dive into your scraps and little yarn nuggets and yeah, get a pile, and then you could use all your leftover colors. So the Marled Pup Sweater is really quick and small. And if you're a sock knitter, some of my quickest sock patterns to knit are the Scrappy DK Socks. These would make a really good gift because it's thick, DK weight gauge. When I knit these socks, I knit them in like 2 or 3 days because you're only working with like 48 stitches or so, depending on the size, and it's with lots of leftovers as well. So that's really fun motivationally to get to the next stripes, and don't even worry about the colors being exactly the same. Yeah, I didn't do that. You can see in my 2 socks that in the gray section, I did a green and a burgundy section. So make mismatched stripes, and then you can also know which one is for the left and for the right sock. But it doesn't matter. But yeah, don't worry about matching the colors. Just dive in and get some random stripes and make them splashy and random. So the Scrappy DK Socks are for a thick yarn weight. If you have a little more time to do a finer gauge project, or you don't want the socks to be too thick and overheated for the feet, then the Dustland Socks are one of my favorites to knit because especially as a gift, if you're worried about someone liking the crazier colors or not, you can always be safe with just a single color. So a nice red or a blue or a hot pink for those color pop lovers. So just pick one skein of sock yarn. And these socks I love to knit because as a knitter, you're doing different stitch patterns. They're really easy, some seed stitch and garter stitch, but it never gets boring. So it's always moving. You can knit these while watching TV, but there's interesting things always ahead in the socks. And they're still simple enough for someone's, if their style is a little more understated, then this isn't too crazy. You know, I don't like knitting things and giving them to someone and they're like, oh wow, that's really crazy and cool. And then they never wear it. Like, first of all, if that happens, then never knit for them again, okay? But if you're worried about someone's, I don't know, or can they handle a color pop, or are they gonna like something with all these scrappy, crazy colors, then just choose one, have a really simple, sophisticated sock, and who wouldn't love these? I mean, such a festive little cranberry color too. So those are the Dustland socks. They do take a little more time than the DK weight socks, but they're simple stitches, so I think they'll fly off the needles for you. All right, when it comes to some other gift ideas, hats and mittens are always my go-to because I knit them mostly with DK weight yarn, so they're really quick. And what I love about hats is that you just have to make one. So you don't have that second sock syndrome, or you don't have two things to make. Yeah, psychologically that can seem like you're making two things for one person. So if you don't want that, then socks or mittens, yeah, set those aside and then just do a hat. So I'll start with a couple more textured and colorful hats. This one's the Aurora Cabin hat from last year's Hiberknitting collection. And this is good for DK weight yarn in 5 colors, all striped together. So this is good for you knitters that want to give a beautiful gift, but it's got some really interesting texture. The Fantastitch Hat is another one of those with DK weight scraps where you can have something different in every section. This one's more slouchy style. So it's longer with the textures slouching in the back. And the Aurora Cabin is a brimmed, more of a fitted. Has a little extra room at the top, but you could always adjust that depending on how much slouch you want or how cold it is. You could pull it over your ears. And then one of my easiest hats is the Dustland Hat, which coordinates with the socks that I just showed you. This is with just one skein of DK weight. So you can just dive into your stash and get one skein to show off all those knits and purls. This is our green olive colorway from Westwool. And the Dustland Hat is also a slouchy style with plenty of room in the back. But when I wear this in the winter, I'll wear it slouchy when it's a little cooler or a little warmer. And then when it gets much chillier, I'll fold the brim and have a double thick brim over my ears. And then the last kind of hat style, it's not a hat, it's a balaclava, is my new Brioclava. So for you brioche lovers, this is also a really quick gift knit because it's the same amount of knitting as a hat, but it's got a really fun style and that squishy brioche texture. And then my favorite part about the Brioclava is it's an opportunity to work with the fluffy yarns. So I used the chain fiber melted baby Surrey on the inside, and anyone you give this to is just gonna be hugged with a cocoon of alpaca fluff. So I love that feeling. It's really warm. Brioche stitch, first of all, is warm because it's like a double thick layer, and the brioche ribbing is lofty and loose, so it does really trap the air nicely with the brioche stitch, but then it's double warm with that soft alpaca. I find that alpaca is definitely a bit more warming than just wool, and for winter, it's perfect. That's the purpose of these little balaclavas, is to keep your head and your ears toasty warm. So knit this for the bald person in your life, and they'll be really happy. Okay, so one final thing I want to show. If you've got a little extra time in those gift knitting hands, then this one is a little bit bigger of a project, but I think it's still really great for gift giving because who doesn't need a warm, cozy cowl? And I also chose this option for a gift idea because there's so many different sections. So as a knitter, you're never going to get bored. Sometimes when you just have one texture throughout a whole thing as a gift knit, it's like, oh my gosh, it's the same thing. And then you start thinking, are they going to like this? Is it going to be the right color? So when you have lots of different colors, they're going to like at least one section of it, okay? And then if they don't like one of the other colors, they can hide it in the back. So this has so much going on. There's some stranded knitting, knit purl textures. You'll get a section that's just mindless TV knitting with the stripes and some slip stitches as well. So it's a little sampler of techniques that's great for knitting on the go, knitting while multitasking, and it's really warm as well. It's knitted as a tube, so it's double thick and super warm. So you can wrap it twice like this, or just drape it for a little decorative tube. So those are my gift ideas. If you have some other types of things that you always gift around the holidays or for birthdays and stuff, like do you do headbands or fingerless mitts could be good? Or yeah, what do you make? What are your go-to gift ideas? So let me know down below if you have some other types of knits or a certain pattern that you're like, this is the perfect gift project. Let me know, because I'm always looking for other gift options that might not be your normal hat or mitten type of project. Like maybe some little bows or headbands or little toys for kids. Yeah, let me know those ideas. So that's it. Those are the new things. I am really most excited about continuing my sweater. So I'll keep sharing some little sneak peeks and behind the scenes progress of my new knits. So if you want to see some of those new things and sneak peeks, I'll be sharing a lot of new content in my newsletter. So you can always sign up for that at westknits.com to see the latest designs and little promo codes. Whenever I do new pattern launches, the newsletter subscribers always get a little bonus discount code. So there's lots of fun stuff happening over there, and I'll keep going into the sock and dog sweater territory with these upcoming 2024 designs. So thank you for watching, and can't wait to hear what you're most excited about to knit in the Westknits world for next year, and I'll see you in the next episode.